How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be featuring the Des Moines, still using the Hoshino build. It's just way too good of a build, I feel like, to kind of pass up. Hoshino's a great battleship commander, but like I've said in the past, it just does some funny things for cruisers, and it's one of the few battleship commanders that you can throw onto a cruiser and actually make full use of every single skill in every single row. But yeah, Hoshino still just way too good. Obviously, there are some drawbacks when using Hoshino, and that's mainly going to be your alpha and your accuracy when shooting at broadside things that you kind of wish that you would be depth striking. Had we been using Norman Scott, I mean, I feel like we would have gotten way more than 2 Citadels here, and I mean, the follow-up getting one, I feel like in like 3 Salmos, Des Moines probably should have been dead to a Des Moines if we did have Norman Scott, which I think would have been much better. Des Moines making a mistake, going out a little too far past the island. Unfortunately though, we're not able to finish him off, as a couple of our salvos don't get any citadels, and again, that's kind of where the drawback for using Hoshino is. Enemy Preußen, 2 enemy Preußens actually, and a GK coming over from the middle. Unfortunately, Des Moines doesn't exactly have armor, especially only having it 27, although to be fair, there being a lot of Preußens and 30mm overmatch these days, neither do any of the other cruisers, because 30 is probably the most common armor threshold at legendary tier, and there's not a whole lot of cruisers that can actually tank 30mm overmatch. I mean, you have stuff like Alaska and Stalingrad, but then again, I mean, are those ships really that fun compared to something like the Des Moines? Not that they're bad or anything, just in where fun is. Preußen, damage cons a double fire. While his damage con is up, we switch targets to the GK, and we kind of hope that we can set a fire there. When we assume that Preußen's damage con is up, we switch back to him and try to set a fire while he's still behind an island, and we're not going to be spotted. Unfortunately, this GK is just full steam ahead towards Charlie. Would have been very nice if there was no GK here, and we could have just simply farmed this Preußen to our heart's content. But with the GK pushing, we need to kind of reposition so we're not caught flat broadside and getting death struck. Friendly Zhao also parked right next to us. Honestly, if I had a choice, I wouldn't be playing a Zhao where he is. Probably would have been out on the flank where our friendly battleship is, because I mean, Zhao does have torpedoes and the ability to kind of kite and wiggle a lot better than a Des Moines would. And the guns, I mean, having a much higher shell velocity, you can play at longer ranges a little more effectively. But yeah, Zhao, unfortunately, not in a great position, not in a position to help our friendly Holland that is still in our spawn to slow down the push and torpedo these battleships would have been very good. Zhao goes forward, beaches, and luckily though for us, we started moving forward because we already saw the Zhao. If we were reversing, we may have been bumped backwards and then spotted by the GK and then death struck by the 3 battleships were out there. But we started moving forward because we started noticing that B cap was getting captured. There's only 1 destroyer per team, and our friendly destroyer is still in our spawn. Unfortunately, he didn't take an opportunity to push closer to the enemy spawn and torpedo their battleships, but instead he's basically across the cap trying to torpedo. And then on top of that, he wasn't really playing the objective. He could have probably been somewhere closer. But then again, it is a Holland, and the enemies do have a Kleber. Holland versus Kleber. Kleber. Not really a fair game. Kleber would easily dumpster Holland, especially because he is using the skill for 2 detection to lose 10% HP. Actually, it's not even 0.2 anymore. I think it's 0.1. Skill that's definitely not worth it. But 3-bar Holland versus a Kleber. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. We pop our radar. I was kind of hoping our friendly ships would shoot at him, but I don't think any of them are. I think our friendly battleship that pushed into A had some secondary shoot at him, but that's pretty much about it. None of our friendly teammates are in any sort of position to actually shoot the Kleber, which is kind of unfortunate. But now that the Kleber has gotten away, it's time to reverse back behind the island. I'd rather not get airstrikes from a Joe and DeWitt that's sitting behind their spawn island dropped on me because, well, since there's no flak in this game, or it's been reduced significantly due to performance issues, planes that fly in a straight line that should be eating flak don't eat flak and don't get shot down, which is kind of my gripe with consumable airstrikes. Even though they fly in straight lines, they don't actually get shot down. Even with full AA build Worcester with defensive AA, a glue airstrike will lose maybe 3 planes before it drops its bombs, and then maybe shoot down a total of 5 total out of the 12. So that's kind of where we're at with anti-air in this game, which, I mean, is kind of a big yikes. Enemy Colombo starts pushing forward. Enemy battleships at sea did turn away. Would have been really bad if the battleships on sea pushed in together, especially with this Colombo charging in. We probably would have been crossfired and killed off quickly, and this game would have ended very quickly. Friendly Vermont at A is just sailing flat broadside to the Colombo and gets deleted from full HP so quickly, which is really unfortunate. I think we would have needed some sort of help at A because there is kind of a lot of ships, Stalingrad, Joe and DeWitt, and now a Colombo on this A side. Meanwhile, the enemies are kind of also pushing in through C. We would have kind of needed something to happen on one of the flanks for us to have a better chance to win. But currently, it's not looking very good. Zhao still sitting here. Again, would have been very nice if he was in a position where he could actually torpedo, because I don't think he's launched a single torpedo yet. But now that we see Charlie Cap is getting flipped, we decide to just simply reverse over to C. Seeing that we have a bunch of battleships in spawn, I'm sure this torpedo build Kleber is going to be greedy and wants to try to torp our Preußen that is starting to push in. So I'm kind of hoping we get spotted soon. And then in turn, we're able to kind of get rid of him and give our team a fighting chance. I get spotted, so we know the Kleber is close, and we do in fact catch the Kleber. We don't have any legendary stacks for the 5% damage, unfortunately, which would have been really nice if we had gotten the Des Moines. We get 2 salvos in on the Kleber, and we do have 15 more seconds on our radar. Hopefully our team shoots at him, and I think the Preußen did, and Preußen does in fact finish off the Kleber, which is really great for us because now our Holland is going to be able to torp freely without something that's going to insta-dumpster him. Although, looking at where he is, he's kind of taken too long to get out to the flank, and now that there's nothing over there, he's just put himself basically out of battle for the remainder of the battle. Enemy Stalingrad pushing in. I switch to AP, Colombo comes back, and we just start shooting his upper belt. Colombo can't overmatch 27, which is really nice. Although the enemy Preußen that abandoned C is pushing in towards B and towards this Colombo, so I can't exactly push out and keep taking this fight because the last thing I want is to be basically dev struck through the bow. Colombo starts smoking up to try and hide, although he's simply in sonar now. Enemy Preußen pops his sonar. I'm kind of waiting to see where the Stalingrad goes, and he is flat broadside. This is one of the moments where we wish we had Norman Scott, just so that we could, well, get a little more accurate salvos and do more Citadels. I don't know how we didn't Citadel him with the first salvo, but Stalingrad realizes that he's not going to reverse in time before he loses all of his HP. And we did max out our reload mod, at least, so now we have about a 4-second reload. And Stalingrad, I mean, he's trying to turn in, but that thing's turning circle is absolutely massive. So we're just getting a couple Citadels here and there. Again, Norman Scott, I feel like I would have probably removed him already. Now that Stalingrad's pretty decently angled, we switch to HE. He's on a sliver of HP. And it would be very nice to start getting some stacks of our legendary reload mod because we kind of do need the damage output, especially because our team is kind of not in great positions to really do anything. It's mostly been us trying to farm and kind of hold the right side. Fortunately, the Colombo wasn't able to really get anything done yet, but enemy Preußen, kind of low HP. He does take a salvo, and I kind of want to see if I can put as much AP into his broadside as I can, just because he does still have the old GK saturation, so there's still a lot of damage to be done in its extremities, and we're in a decent position where, well, I don't think he can Citadel us. But now this Columbo starts pushing the Preußen and starts protecting his stern, which it would have been really nice to get some damage in on the stern, which probably would have been unsaturated. But now, not looking great. Preußen got in, I would assume, a couple of pens, and then us being so close, Columbo actually did quite a bit of damage. I think he learned his lesson from his other salvos where he just shot at us and basically did no damage. We pop our radar just to try and spot these ships before they come around the corner to do as much damage as we possibly can. Preußen, I'm assuming he's going to shoot me and finish me off, but he takes a shot at something else. I'm going to assume he shot the Zao and got like overpens or something, but he doesn't actually get any kills. I'm assuming he thought his secondaries were going to finish me off, but nope, I'm still here, popping heals, surviving. Columbo reverses out. He doesn't shoot our superstructure this time, and well, unfortunately he survives on a sliver of HP, but luckily our friendly Preußen gets in one salvo. Now it's time to push in because we are down in points and they have 2 caps. We kind of need our team to start pushing in, but looking at where Holland is, again, very poorly positioned. He's so far from any sort of objectives, it's just not really going to go well. Alaska pops his radar. Probably the worst thing to happen right now because the Joan DeWitt is still sitting behind the island. I turn bow into the Alaska and I try to go broadside to where those planes are coming from, just because the shape of the drop, if you're bow in, you're gonna suffer more. I try to swerve out of the way, but unfortunately we eat a little too many bombs, and also having to worry about so many things at once, I kind of don't realize that I'm about to leave fully packed. And with less than 1 second left on our heals reload, we leave fully packed, and well, our heal gets reset to 15 seconds. Rear turret of Joan DeWitt as well sets us on fire with 1 shell hit. Kind of really unfortunate. If we were able to stay in fully packed, which I think we could have, if our team was just pushing in with us rather than running away. I mean, Carl's turning away and he's gonna run away. No one's pushing into B still, even though we're down on points. Luckily, Alaska gets death struck by this Preußen. Preußen has kind of been doing a lot compared to the rest of our team, but now we're still down on points. No one's still pushing into B, and this Joan DeWitt, all he has to do is do what he has been doing and sit behind the island doing absolutely nothing, and they'll win on points. There's not a whole lot of time left. And I mean, realistically, the only thing that we could possibly do, because he does need to get spotted, is our Zao to try and YOLO torp him and basically trade. Since he hasn't been torping anything, I mean, he might as well try to get in at least one torp salvo, right? Friendly not GK, Preußen is pushing in towards C, hoping that he can push the Joan DeWitt out, but Preußen doesn't have a whole lot of HP, unfortunately. And Joan DeWitt is still very much alive. We see an airstrike going over to our Preußen. I'm hoping that Joan DeWitt didn't drop well and none of the bombs hit his 32mm armor and just shatter on his deck. That's kind of my only hope for our Preußen to survive. But fortunately, bombs drop, Preußen's still alive, so there is still a chance. We're going to need someone to death strike him and trade or do something. Friendly Zao charging in. I'm kind of hoping he can at least trade torp. There's not a whole lot of time left, and I don't know if the torps are going to get there in time. I'm assuming Zao might have had sonar, or Joan DeWitt reversed again to the Preußen. He gets spotted. Preußen death strikes the Joan DeWitt, and thank Lord we actually won this match, which definitely seemed like it was going to be a loss. And that 4200 XP, I definitely felt that 4200. Carl, I mean, if you're bringing a Carl to a match, you're kind of inting your team. Although, to be fair, Vermont also inted by donating his HP. But he still did better than a ship that was still alive. Carl is such a tragedy. But yeah, I mean, half our team was dead so fast. I mean, it really was us just going back and forth trying to do everything we can. And on top of that, bringing a Carl, you have a level 8 commander. Yikes. But yeah, Des Moines, Hoshino, kind of wish we noticed our fully packed. I mean, we did also have, what, 276,000 damage. I think if we get our heal off, we may be able to pass 300k. Our second near 300k match with Des Moines and Hoshino. I don't think we've ever come close to this with any other build, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I feel like getting our DPM back to what it was before it got nerfed is kind of the whole thing. And at least back then, I never ever did use a like DPM build, which is, well, probably should have. I was always using Beeply, and well, yeah, kind of wish we did. I think if we used like Scon in a damage build, we probably could have passed 300k before it got nerfed, and now we're struggling to do it. We come close a couple times. I'm sure we'll pass it eventually. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share with your friends, or leave a comment down below for other ships you want to see in the future. But anyway, guys, till next time, aloha.